we can't take care of anyone if we don't take care of ourselves too. Mindset is a wonderful thing, but it's just, there's something a little bit better, and it's about how you can feel into your environment and things. The best thing that I did was to feel comfortable showing up as myself and really allowing myself to connect with who I am with no judgment. Intuition doesn't give you a mapped out, beautifully curated PDF, Adobe plan that's on Notion. It's color coded. It doesn't do that. It gives you the next step.
Welcome to Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, life purpose coach, business owner, and your spiritual guide on all things mindset, manifestation, and purpose. This podcast is a space for deep reflections, meaningful conversations to help you expand your mind, dive into the depths of your soul, and create a life that makes you feel alive. Whether you're walking, driving, or simply vibing, take a deep breath and get ready to dive. Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, and I'm super happy to be recording this episode. Today, we're going to talk about how to use intuition and telepathy to manifest wealth. Our guest today is Kayla Langholf. She's the founder of Energetically Her. We've had Kayla on the show before. I'm super happy to have her again. She's a psychic strategist with over 22 years of experience on therapy. She's the creator of the Rewire into Riches tool, and she's the voice behind the Energetically Her podcast. Kayla combines energetic communication, emotional intelligence, and intuitive business strategy to support women who are building a legacy from the inside to the outside. Her work is known for helping intuitive women lead with emotional clarity, trust their inner knowing, and become richer in all areas of life. So we're going to be talking about all of that. Thank you, Kayla, for being here today. I'm super happy to have this conversation with you again.
Me too. I love recording. I love our communities coming together. This was so fun last time.
Yes, we've had Kayla on the show before. We recorded episode 94. So if you love this conversation, you can always go back and tune in and learn more from Kayla. And actually, fun fact, the way we got into this episode was not one of the usual ways. So for context, the way I would usually get people into the show is basically maybe I see something on Instagram and I'm like, I could actually have a cool conversation with this person. I will probably reach out to them. I also get many emails with people who want to come into the show. And sometimes I say yes, many times I say no, because they're not necessarily aligned. And this conversation with Kayla didn't happen with any of those methods. So it's normally me reaching out to people or people reaching out to me. This one, we arrange it through telepathy. So basically, I was planning okay, what I wanted to talk about during the month of June and July. And I have my planning. I had my little structure. And I was like, you know what? I would love to have this conversation with Kayla. We haven't talked in a while. We've had this amazing last episode. We had a great conversation. I would love to bring her again into the show. So, but it was just there on my planning. And I was supposed to write to Kayla at some point, but I didn't do it yet. And basically, I get a text from her saying, hey, how are you doing? Shall we do an episode together? So tell us what happened. So I was there, I had my little planning. What did you feel on your side? What did you perceive? And what made you say, okay, let me reach out to Mercedes and do a show together? What happened on your side?
So this is a good example of what telepathy actually is. And it's reading the energy, it's feeling it, and energy doesn't know distance or time, none of that stuff, right? So I'm in Arizona. You're across the world from me, right? We don't text every day. We don't message every day, not even every week. Sometimes we've gone maybe months without messaging, right? Because it's just Instagram. It's our businesses. Yet when someone's thinking of me, it's like when someone's about to call you, sometimes they pop into your head. It's the same thing, but 100 times stronger. Okay. And I don't know how much time went by from you making your to-do list to you seeing my message, but it was I messaged you right when you popped into my head. So we can kind of see how far in time that was. But it basically is a little ping. And I joke with clients, it's sound effects go off in my brain of oh, okay. And then the person's name comes in and it's almost I read it across in my mind, as interesting as that sounds. And so that's when I messaged you. I was like, oh, yeah, I would love to do that. That sounds like a full body yes.
Amazing.
And that's how that works in real time. But it's how I operate a lot of my business. And it's how I love staying connected with people like you, that we click so well and our communities come together. And it's a wonderful tool for business.
And from your side, because sometimes when we are this intuitive, some people see things, some people hear, some people sense with their bodies. For you, how was this? Did you see? Did you hear? Did you sense something? What was the sensation that you got?
Yeah, the sensation was I could picture your name in my head. Okay, like I'm not seeing it outwardly, of course, it's through my mind. And the feeling I got was like a pull forward of like I would love to record again with Mercedes because we always have such good conversations. So if I ever get someone thinking of me and I don't want to do it, I'll feel myself retract and pull back. And even like a sense of immediate like you just feel off or you feel a little bit drained automatically without even doing anything is how the no would feel to me.
Amazing, amazing. And I feel like this is the perfect introduction into the podcast. We're going to be talking a lot about all of these different, I wouldn't even call it tools, I would call it like superpowers that we have, because I do believe that intuition, telepathy are superpowers that we have, especially as women. So there's many things I want to hear from you, but can you share your story with us, your life story? But also tell us in which points in that story did you actually use your intuition to make decisions? The moments where you said, this feels like a full body yes, or this feels like a full body no.
Yeah, of course. So my backstory comes from being a toddler and looking at my mom. She was sitting in the kitchen and sensing that I should have been the adult. Okay, like the roles should have been reversed. I was really able to read a room even then, be able to feel into people's emotions and feel into their moods with a baby doll in my head. Okay, like I was really young when I could do this. And so a lot of what I've experienced has been a lot of trauma from like my childhood and growing up and things, never fitting in. Like a lot of us have kind of a similar perspective on like you felt like you were kind of an outcaster. That's how I felt as well. And I also put myself there because I could feel everything around me. And we don't realize how much we don't realize how much we pick up around us, especially for us who are empathic and sensitive and things like that. So growing up, I loved school. I loved being outside. I loved connecting with people. I loved people, but I just couldn't always be around them with how I felt. And growing up, I found myself doing things for other people, listening to other people more than my own guidance, trusting them more than I trusted me, putting them first, wanting to take care of other people, and putting myself last. But the thing is, like, we can't take care of anyone if we don't take care of ourselves too. So I have a really big heart. I always have for people and animals and all those things. And so growing up, I felt almost like a product in my environment in a way that I couldn't control. And it would make me really sad and feel like something was wrong with me. Like, why do I feel like this? Why can't I control how I feel? And it goes beyond our emotions, but it impacts our thoughts too. So if you ever notice, like if you hang around someone for a while and you start to laugh like them, or you have little sayings that you picked up from them when you don't realize it, imagine what that's doing to how you think about money and your business and how you carry yourself in the world. Because if we don't clear that, that's what happens. And so one of the best things that I ever did was that there was a moment in time when everything was coming to a head in my life. Because of all the trauma and things, even through therapy, I was still having physical symptoms of stored energy and stored trauma. So there was a period where my health was really declining. I, at one point, like could not move my neck at all. I was having severe migraines, all these problems. Doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong. Specialists couldn't figure out what was wrong. There was even like a spinal surgeon that was like, Kayla, I could operate on you, but I'm not confident that this is actually going to help you. And so in that, I walked out of there and I remember standing in the parking lot thinking, is this something that I can control? Like, is this from me? Like, is this from my mind and my emotions? Is this something that medicine is not supposed to fix, but I'm supposed to create these tools is what I'm supposed to do. And as I say that, I get the chills because it was so like, why didn't I think of that? Like, but it's like you have to go through all these things to learn sometimes the hard way. And that was definitely one of those moments for me. And that's really where everything pivoted. And yeah, my health was declining, but I had this renewed sense of like, this is happening for a reason and it keeps getting worse because I haven't been listening. I've been avoiding, I've been ignoring, and I didn't even realize it. My intuition's been screaming at me, and I had no idea. I thought it was anxiety. Like, I had no idea. And it was one of those moments where everything changed. And there's so many that we could talk about. And if you want to talk about more in this episode, we can. But that was the really big pivotal moment that saved my life and changed my life. And that's led us where we are today.
And what do you think your intuition was trying to say at that point?
That it's nothing outside of you has more power than you do if you allow it. And our intuition is overqualified for its job, not only for our health and for how we think and our emotions, but how we carry ourselves, what career we find ourselves in, our business, how we show up in the world, how we feel about ourselves. It is really like the gateway. And there's so much information that we can access through that. And of course, some people are gonna be more gifted than others, of course. Not everyone's equal in this, in my opinion, in this category of like abilities. Some people are really, really good at certain things, and some people just aren't, right? We could all go ride horses, and some of us are just going to be like totally amazing at it, and I might be falling off, but I'm still going to go, right? Like I'm still going to go with everyone. So it's just a matter of knowing that there is a really powerful tool that everyone can access. And some people just might be able to tap into that faster and more. And that's what happened with my experience. I went from never listening to it to putting it at the forefront of everything that I do really quickly.
Absolutely. In my case, I think the way I developed my intuition, it was through meditation. I wasn't necessarily trying to develop my intuition, but by meditating, having this practice meditation practice every day, it just started coming. Like something opened, I would say maybe my third eye, something opened, and I started being way more intuitive, way more empathetic. I think I just literally changed my neural pathways with meditation in a way that allowed me to be way more intuitive and way more empathetic, not because I was trying to be, but because just something shifted in me, inside of me.
I love that. Yeah, we're really able to tap in to our inner worlds when we shut out the external and all the noise. And it's so tempting. There's so much out there, so much to learn, so much to do. You see all these people in your industry or other ones, and it's fun to watch. And sometimes we can get caught up in all of that and we forget about like the one thing that really will always bring us home.
Absolutely. And how do you use intuition nowadays in your business to attract clients, to create more wealth, to create more success? How does this look like practically in your everyday life in your business?
So practically, I really put this at the forefront of everything that I do. So it comes down to how I make decisions, how I post, how I will change my to-do list sometimes. Sometimes I'll logically put things together and then I'll know the difference between like an impulsive thought versus an intuitive pull of like, you need to go do this instead and stop what you're doing. And I used to think that like that was because I was like scattered or, had all these ideas and thoughts running through my mind. But that's sometimes how intuition works, right? So it's not going to go off of logic. Logic limits our results. It always does. It always has. It's something I've said from the beginning because that's just mindset is a wonderful thing, but it's just there's something a little bit better, and it's about how you can feel into your environment and things. So from that, knowing when I can pivot and when it's time to like really commit and follow through versus when it's time to change has allowed me to build my business in a way that works with my energy, works with how I naturally want to show up, and everyone can feel it. And you get this glow about you too. It's not even just with business, but you really become richer in all areas of life, really trusting yourself and hearing or feeling things and actually going with it versus stalling and wanting to think it over or wanting to do like a pros and cons list of like what's priorities to you. That's what I used to do a lot before I trusted myself until now. And so that productivity, that efficiency, it helps you sign clients like nobody's business. It really helps you grow. Like I have a podcast and it's been a great tool to feel into like, what does my community want to hear from me today? It's one thing to post or to publish, but it's something else to publish and post the right things the things that you're channeling, like what's really alive for you in that moment, those will always do better than something that we force out or that we just push through because we want to stay committed. And so that's what I really found a nice balance between.
Absolutely. And I think it also comes down to trusting ourselves because intuition is there. Intuition is trying to send messages, send us in a specific direction. And sometimes when we don't have this sense of trust, we're like, no, whatever, this is probably nothing. I'm just going to stick to my plan, or I'm just going to completely ignore this. And we end up doing whatever we thought was the right thing to do. And in the end, intuition was right. And intuition travels much faster than the logical mind. And then we're like, this is why I thought, whatever, I couldn't trust this person, or this is why I didn't want it to enroll this client, or whatever it might be. Intuition travels way faster. So we need to start trusting that intuition.
Absolutely. And something I want to add too is before I really got started in practicing this every day, like years ago, I always thought that intuition was going to be loud. Like it would be loud, like fear, or it would be like some strong emotion. A lot of times that's not how it is. It's very quiet. And so carving out times in your day or building this muscle up to strengthen it is one of the best things anyone can do at any point in your life or your business because it is quiet. And it's that second thought of like, maybe this is a bad idea, but then you do it anyways. Like then you realize it was a bad idea. That was your intuition being like, hello, we're trying to help you here. Yeah.
So, if you had to put it in percentages, how much logic and how much intuition do you use in your business?
So what we like to say with energetically her is we are flexing what people do. So the reason behind that, it's not just a number out of thin air. There's some math behind it. So logic, so someone's mindset is going to account for 5%. The effort they put in is also going to count for 5%. That's all like the same bracket and the physical external work. Okay. The energetic side, which is like your intuition, your subconscious mind, and your emotional state of like what you project out into the world accounts for 95%. And so that alone, that's where your 30x comes from automatically. And it's not that that 5% doesn't matter because it does. No one's going to be able to create results by not doing anything physically, but you can create them 30 times faster, 30 times more efficiently, 30 times more by having that big piece on board. Because 5% can't outdo 95%. Like there's no effort in the world that can actually overcome that. And so why overcome it when you're supposed to use it to your advantage and use it as a tool and to have it do the heavy lifting for you? It's there to support you.
Absolutely. And things can be so much easier and in flow. And it just feels, I think, once you get used to really using your intuition, whether that's in your business, if people listen to this episode, maybe they have a job, or even in your personal life, I think every time you use your intuition, things feel easier, faster. It feels like you're literally just flowing, going with the flow. But it's your intuition that it's always, I have this deep belief that everything that we do from an intuitive place will always be the right thing. You cannot get wrong with your intuition. You cannot make a mistake if you follow your intuition.
Exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. It's there for a reason. And it really gives you the advantage over everything else.
Absolutely. And what about your personal life? I'm curious about your biggest manifestations in your life and how you think intuition contributed to those manifestations.
Yeah, I love this question. So, would you like the biggest ones or like more recent?
The biggest ones and
The
how
biggest.
intuition played a role on those.
Okay. Coming to mind, let's see. The biggest manifestations would be well, there's this saying that people have in my close life. It's funny where Kayla always gets what she wants. Kayla's lucky, Kayla's whatever, but it's not luck at all. It's knowing how to read the energy and knowing what direction to go. I used to be someone who was so stubborn, and I still can be sometimes, so adamant about having things my way, of doing things a certain way. And forcing things in a way of like, I'm such a hard worker. I really want this. I'm going to push myself over and over again. And then you get to the point where it just doesn't work anymore. Like your body and everything is like, no, like this doesn't work anymore because you're not taking care of us and you're not putting yourself first. And so after that point, with the biggest manifestations, knowing what way to go has led me to getting a new car in 7 days when it was supposed to take 6 months. That was really cool. And I'll give like a little snippet of like how that happened just for anyone that's curious. So I, right when I was having neck problems, right, I couldn't move my neck and having health issues, I was like, I really would love a car that has sensors on it to where I don't have to look over my shoulder. That's how bad it was, guys. I could not even like really drive. I wanted the signal from the car to be able to like turn and things like that. And so I was looking at cars and I was like, oh, wow, they have these new ones. It was the newest model of the car that I was currently driving, but they were out of stock. Okay. They checked different dealerships. I went home on my laptop and looked up different ones. It was like 5 states away, no cars, no inventory. Their ETA was 6 months. Okay, great. It was like December, almost Christmas time. And I get a call. I got chills again. I get a call from the salesman and he's like, you're never going to believe this. And that's when I get the biggest smile because I'm like, yes, I would. Tell me, what is it? What is it? And he's like, there is a city over from you or someone put a deposit down on the exact car, the exact model, the exact interior that you wanted, all the features that you wanted, and they never picked it up. And he was like, and they're past their 24 hours to where we can legally give it to someone else. Do you want it? And I said, do I want it? How fast can you get it to me? And so he goes himself, right? And basically hand delivers it to me on Christmas. The most amazing, like, yeah. So that's what happens when you follow your intuition. So that was one big manifestation where everyone was like, how did you do that? And at the time I was like, oh, I just, did this and I did that. But it's about reading the energy and feeling into it and not having your emotions in the way. That will block whatever we want from coming through. I was very detached, even though I did want it. And so that's something that really stands out because that was a really pivotal moment, not only with my health and my driving, but also showcasing like the power of what we can do with these tools and we know how to master them. Another thing as well, when me moving to Arizona, I made this decision within 3 weeks. I moved from a place that I'd always known, friends, family. I had just had my highest month in real estate. I made the most money I'd ever made in a month. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to move to Arizona. And if I don't move, I'm never going to. And while I was packing up my stuff, it felt like the best decision and the worst decision of my life because it felt so like I gave up everything basically to trust of like, okay, I'm going to figure out what I'm here to really do in this lifetime even more. And, making all the money in the world doesn't matter if you're supposed to have like a bigger purpose. And it all has played into what I do now. I've always been known for creating sanctuaries for people through real estate, through construction, through emotional homes and sanctuaries of what I offer now. So it's all been the same thing, but I would have never left a career, and I did like parts of it. I would have never left that if my intuition wasn't like, hello, you're going to actually drop everything and you're going to go this way by yourself with no roadmap, no flashlight. It's dark. Hope you have fun. Like that's how it felt. Besides like this hope of like, okay, full body chills. Like this is happening for a reason. That was another big one. And we could continue, but I don't know how long you want to go into this question.
Amazing. I love this one because I definitely relate to this last one. Because I think when I also had my job as marketing director, I started feeling like this intuitive ping, like it's not here. It's not here. But it was very small. And I still wasn't I was already meditating, but I still wasn't so tapped into my intuition. And then the years went by and it was like, it's definitely not here. And at some point, my intuition was like screaming, like, stop it. Like, it's not here. It's definitely not here. And then at some point, it's like, you have to follow your intuition. You have literally, you always have a choice, but it's like, it's screaming so loud, like in your case, like, move to Arizona. There is no plan. The plan is that you move to Arizona. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah, that is the plan. The plan is no plan. It's trust.
The plan is no plan.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, thank you so much for sharing all of these manifestations. It's really interesting how we can use our intuition to manifest things. And now I'm really, really curious about your telepathy skills. How does it actually work? And were you born with this talent, or do you think it's something that developed over time?
I love this question. So, a mentor of mine a few years ago explained the way trauma works with the mind and the body. So, trauma thins the veil between our reality and other dimensions. And if we picture that in our mind, we associate it like stacking like a pyramid, like one after the other, right? But it's actually all in the same space. But it's a matter of what can you tap into, what can you feel, which is why people like see ghosts and like things like that happen. That's not because it's happening 30 feet above you. That's happening right on the actual ground. And so that's a really good example of like how it's all stacked in the same spot. So with me having a really traumatic childhood, like like the stuff that scary movies are made out of, like that's what I lived through. Okay. But I also picked that for myself, or our soul a lot of times picks our experiences and our lessons to give us these beautiful opportunities of experience. And that's what's led me to where I am today. So I'm very grateful for even the bad things that have happened, very grateful for them. And so it's really given me these tools and these places to like, okay, I need to create something here. So with all the trauma, my veil is very thin, like it's almost non-existent to where I can pick up everything. And so if you were to look at my astrology chart or my human design, I am designed to create tools that turns telepathy and energy reading and communication and energetic influence, emotional intelligence into actual formats and frameworks for other people on like a mass scale. And so that's what I've been doing, and that's what led to the whole like, you need to move to Arizona, you need to change your whole life, you're going to leave the career that you thought you loved, and you're going to leave the guy that you thought you would marry, and you're going to leave your whole family and all that stuff. It's led me to where I am. And that's on intuition. And so, can people learn this? Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited at one point to train practitioners and offer mentorship abilities and positions to where people can really learn these things. I want them to be as good as me. I do. I want to pass on this legacy and these tools and really get people to have this advantage and to use it for the good in the world, in their business and outside of it.
Amazing. So, how do you use telepathy in your business, for example?
So it helps me determine everything with all decisions. It's not something that you turn on or off or that you really have to do. It's an ability that happens like second nature when you access it. And so it's like breathing air. You don't really think about it, but it's happening and it's definitely helpful and it's necessary. There is the advantage of breathing air. It's the same thing with this. So with this, I'm able to determine, like, for example, let's go back a couple years. There was a few podcast interviews that I did with guests for my own podcast. I was excited about it, full body yes, like so excited to edit it, get it up, best conversations. And as I'm sitting there behind my computer, I had done like 3 or 4 back to back in a day. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, you know what? Actually, I'm not supposed to post these. These people are not going to have their businesses very long. They're actually not authentically where they're supposed to be. And I could feel that.
Mm.
And so I never posted them. And I felt guilt and I felt shame around it of like, oh my gosh, I really like these people too, right? Like actual connections. That's always what I have on my podcast. It's like people I love, people that I'm inspired by. And so it felt really wrong for me to be like, oh, and it was intuitively like, there was no emotions behind it until afterward of the guilt. But to sit there and think they're actually not as good as they say they are in this, and it's not what they're meant to be doing. And lo and behold, some of them within a few weeks, some a little bit longer, they dropped off Instagram. Like they never logged into their account again. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I love people having experiences. Go and try a million things. Like do it all. Live the fullest life ever. Your life is like a movie. Moments like that, it's really helpful because your brand and your reputation and your image really holds a lot of weight, especially for what I do. And so if I was just sit here and collaborate with people that I love, but they're not actually like seasoned or they're going to not stay in their business, that doesn't look so good on me, even though it has nothing to do with me. And so in moments like that, it's very helpful to be able to communicate with people in a way where they don't even understand what they're feeling yet or what they're thinking yet. They haven't even said the words. And I'm like, got it. Okay, cool. And so it's a safe space always, like anyone around me. There's a lot that I know that I never share because it's not my place to. Just because you know something doesn't mean that it's right to speak on it or to talk on it. And so that's where I stand on that. Just very respectful.
But that's super useful because then it's like you're a little bit ahead of time without trying, but it's like you have information ahead of time and then you can make like more informed decisions. We always say that we always make decisions with imperfect information. This is still imperfect information, but it's a little bit more complete than what regular human being can have.
Yeah. And it's really specific too. It's not just like something might feel off at the beginning, but then 5 minutes and you're like, oh, it feels off because this isn't right and this over here. And it gets so exact to the root cause. I love that. Like things that are more surface level, like mirror affirmations and things like that, they're great. But when you can get to the root of something, oh my gosh, it gives you so much more power and control. And you're really able to maximize the input and the output and the influence that you have. And it helps you connect with other people on a deeper level too, without feeling like overexposed or over vulnerable or like you're oversharing, because you really see them in a way that most people can't. And people really connect with that. And it's a cool thing to experience on both ends. So
Amazing. And now I'm curious, how do you use telepathy? If you do, I imagine you do, but how do you use telepathy to manifest more wealth, more money?
I love this question. So, this, I would say, I really use it a lot with my offers. So, with telepathy, there's an offer that I have, and it's called 10 Steps Ahead. And it's where I look in intuitively to someone specifically, and I have them fill in a full on like form and questionnaire. And I channel and I look for their 10 next best business moves. And they're very specific, and it's all around money and business focus. So I do that also for my own business. There's times when we're pivoting, there's times when we're growing. There's seasons that we're going to go through that we're like, wow, why does this feel so challenging? Like I know this is right for me, but there's like so many things happening all at once. That allows me to feel into, okay, what's mine, what isn't, and that way I can clear what isn't mine. And when we're around people that we love, we're picking up their thoughts and emotions and stuff, right? We're picking up their money beliefs. And so with that, I spend more time around people that I love now more than ever, but yet I'm making more than ever because they're not influencing me on the way that they used to. And that really shows up in how much money we make and our comfortability and being authentic and showing up online. And it all is connected. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So it really helps with being able to sense like, oh, this person's going to sign up for this at some point. I can just feel it ahead of time. And that's really cool to experience. And it also helps me too. I learn a lot about people and what helps us the most. And with everything I create and offer, I want it to be practical. Like, yes, like I have mediumship stuff. I can see ghosts. Yes, I can hear people's thoughts and things, but I want to have these tools that ground it in a way of like, how does this help you in everyday life? Right? You could spend your days up in the clouds, sure, but what I would offer people is a lot more of a grounded approach that combines the two together.
Hmm. And that brings all of these spiritual, ethereal realm into a more grounded, realistic realm. So, how can we use all of these things, these tools, these talents to achieve things, do things, to have better businesses that can serve more people?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny too, if you look at the branding that I have, one of my offers is called Heaven on Earth. And it's like, yeah, they're literally combining the two where they meet in the middle.
Love it. So, from an energetic perspective, because of course your brand energetically her, it's all about energy. From an energetic perspective, where do you think are like the points or the things that we need to pay attention in regards to money? You talked about, okay, we need to be careful with the things that we pick up from other people. But what would you say are the things that could cost us money if we leave them unchecked?
The things that will cost us money usually have nothing to do with money, but it has to do with a belief or a thought or something in our actual field in our mind that's going to show up in all areas of our life. So here's an example. There was a point when, like I mentioned at the very beginning, where I outsourced my power, not realizing it. I really trusted other people's opinions. I valued what they had to say. And I looked up to people, but I looked to them more than I looked to myself. And in doing so, you automatically put that power out there, and then you start thinking like, oh, okay, well, if if I can't do this, well, how could I do that? So if I can't, trust myself to do this, how do I know that this is going to make me money? How do I know that I can commit to do that? And it led me into real estate because that's part of my sort of genius too, is like building a home or like creating a sanctuary. But part of the reason I got into there was because other people were saying, oh, you'd be so good in real estate. Like you should get into real estate. And I did. But having all the money in the world, like making more money than I ever had before, closing deals and loving my clients, like there'd be people that would get money on their like money back after closing. Like that's how good I was at what I was doing. It didn't matter because if you have beliefs and thoughts that are going to block that, the money doesn't last. You can make a lot of money and spend it and lose it and not actually be able to hold it and manage it. And so that's what happens too. It's not just about like how do we what blocks stop money, but what blocks keep us from holding on to the money and and having it be like that cycle. And so that was something I experienced a lot after my highest cash month was more exciting than ever because I had internal thoughts of like, oh my gosh, I'm not good with money. Oh my gosh, I've never made this much before. Oh my gosh, oh, should I invest this? Should I put it here? Should I put it there? It was like I was so ungrounded and feeling all this, possibilities. And that's what happens if like you're really psychic. You get overwhelmed really easy because you're like, shit, there's a million things we could do. And then you're like, what's the right way? Oh my gosh, this is like too much. So if anyone feels like that you might be psychic, just saying. But the scatteredness, that's a big money block. That doesn't help us at all. And that really comes even down to our to-do list. Like if we don't know what to prioritize to get to where we want to go, that prevents more from coming in because if we can't handle what we have, how can we be trusted with more? How can more come in if we don't know how to manage what we already have? And so that was something I really learned the hard way with and it being the biggest money block, not even about really money, but your ability and your comfortability to hold and to manage that. Another one too, for a lot of people, and this also showed up with me, is being seen. Like we say we want to be seen, but are you okay with being judged? Are you okay with people not agreeing with you? Are you okay with your family over the dinner table, like not understanding your business, not understanding what you do? Are you okay with people criticizing you, wanting a refund? We say we want to be seen, but there's so much more to that. And those are all money blocks in themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think there's different issues that we can have in regards to money. And these blocks that you talked about can come in different stages. Some people have issues to attract money. Some people have issues to hold to money. It feels like it's, just going away as if it was water or thin air. And some people have issues to multiply that money. So maybe these different blocks belong, if we think about this together, maybe this block around visibility, being seen, it's not going to allow you to attract money, because if people can't really see you for who you truly are, maybe they're not going to be so attracted to your services, your business, etc. And then this scatteredness, what do I do with my money? Then maybe it's around this capacity to hold money. How do we hold if we are, we have a million different things, a million tabs open, a million bank accounts, a million things we could do with our money. And then this, belief, how am I going to manage all of this money? It's what it could be blocking us from potentially multiplying that money and generating even more wealth.
Yeah. What you touched on generating and multiplying, that really comes back to self-trust. So someone could look at if someone has made a lot or is continuously, like consistently bringing in a good amount of money, you could always look at, okay, what part of me doesn't trust to handle and to manage this and to put it where I would like it to go? And it's even thinking about like the first memory that pops up, that stored imagery and that stored emotions and the energy that will carry more weight. Coming back to what we said, 95%, that memory will hold more weight than the 5% of effort of you working night and day behind your laptop, doing the absolute most, being the amazing person that you are. That doesn't outweigh the energetics of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, do you have any other tips that we haven't covered to manifest more abundance?
Yes, I would say in my own personal experience, the best thing that I did was to feel comfortable showing up as myself and really allowing myself to connect with who I am with no judgment, with no, oh, I should do this because this person's doing this or this person looks really good over here. It's so tempting to see people in their zone of genius and to see that glow they have and to get inspired by your friends and by your communities and industry leaders and things. And the best thing, as counterintuitive as it sounds, is I shut all of that out and I pulled way back and I was like, okay, I need to recenter, refocus on what my intuition's telling me to do. And something that to know is that it's not going to give you telepathy gives you a 10-step plan because that's something that I offer, but intuition doesn't give you a mapped out, beautifully curated PDF, Adobe like plan that's like, on Notion, it's color coded. It doesn't do that. It gives you the next step. One's all you get. Like drops you like a little like Hershey's kiss. Like, here you go. Then you take it. Okay, then you're gonna get another one. Then you're gonna get another one. Then you're like gonna go down this path. And so what happens? Women like us that are so smart, so intuitive, so driven, we're like, I'm gonna make this amazing plan, and I'm just gonna push all of my focus and energy into it. I'm gonna bypass anything else because this is what I want. This is what I'm gonna go for. And we forget that it's only going to be one step at a time. And so when we're looking at abundance from a whole, and when it comes to business and our career, something I found myself doing, and I keep getting chills, is I was like, I want to know where I'm going to be in 10, 20 years now. Like before I even commit, like I want to see it. I want to, I want to know. And it doesn't always work like that. And the thing about it is that it works out better than you could imagine. It really does. It's where you're able to turn the impossible into a normal Tuesday by getting the Hershey's kiss, taking it, accepting it, feeling grateful, and moving forward in that way. Did I think 2 years ago that I would be allowed to say how psychic I am? No, because I didn't feel comfortable or safe doing that. It takes a special kind of woman to teach the very thing that she died for in a past life, in this life. Like that's a whole different side of like healing your fears and working through anything stored in your body. That took years for me to be able to do. And now that I have, things are taking off, things are booming, things are exciting. And they've always been exciting, but in a career business way. It's really, really cool. And so money is amazing, but go one step lower and think, would I still be doing this if I wasn't getting paid to do this? Is this something that I could see myself doing for a long time? Is this something that I'm doing because I feel like I have to, or that I really want to? And it feels bigger than me. And it feels so strong and so powerful that I couldn't possibly do this because the world needs what I have to offer, that only I can offer. And that creates a whole different energetic signature to help people show up as when it's bigger than them. And that's something that I really encourage everyone to tap into is believe in something that's bigger than just you, because that ripple effect is real. The impact you're here to have, it's real. And don't just lean into it. I want you to stand tall in it and fully accept and embrace who you are and to allow yourself to receive, because you have everything that you already need.
This is amazing. I feel like I just want to sit here and bathe into this energy and this message. I think listeners will absolutely resonate with this. So thank you so much, Kayla, for coming to the show. It's kind of hard to go back to earth after this message. But where can listeners find you if they want to learn more from you, if they want to hang out with you, be in your beautiful angelic presence?
Thank you so much. They can find me on Instagram at energetically her. We also have the Energetically Her podcast as well. And yeah, there's new episodes on there. And Instagram is the main platform that I use.
Amazing. So we're going to put all of those links in the show notes. Also, if you've loved this conversation, you can always go back to episode 94 and listen to the conversation that we had with Kayla last time. It was really, really fun. And I like to finish every podcast episode with 3 rapid fire questions. For you, this will be super easy because it's literally very intuitive. So the first thing that comes to your soul, to your heart, will be the right one. So, when was the last time you felt bliss?
This morning when I was getting ready, as we're recording this, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, right? But I woke up at 4 because I have this morning routine that I love. And when I come into interviews and things, I always love to really bring a presence and really connect with my own energy for a few hours before my day starts. And so this morning, just this morning at 4 a.m. was when I was blissful.
Amazing. So beautiful. Can you think of one idea that fundamentally changed your life?
Yes. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It used to trigger me. I was like, that's impossible. There's no way. But when you pull back the curtain and look at the undercurrent of everything, it's all connected. And it's amazing because as you fix one thing, as you heal one thing, it ripples into other areas of your life. And it's amazing.
I can definitely relate to that one. And as you speak, I'm also thinking, yeah, this makes some sense. And if you could choose one rule that everybody in the world needs to obey, what would it be?
One rule. Okay. It drives me bonkers when people are using ChatGPT, when they're asking a question that their intuition already knows. Okay. You can use it to organize, to brainstorm with, sure. But really, technology does not have the capacity and the power to connect you spiritually. Okay. That's coming from you. It's, if anything, that you're getting the answers, it's reading off what you're already putting into it, and it's going off of like the background of what you've previously searched. I love technology. I have a bunch of Aquarius placements. So I love innovation. I mean, I'm building out a whole industry of my own here. So I love innovation. I love cutting edge stuff, but I don't want people to outsource their inner knowing to a computer when it's not logic that gets us ahead like we think it will. It really is the energetic side of things paired with best and aligned action.
Absolutely. And you cannot ask GPT, whatever, should I leave my boyfriend? Should I choose this job or the other job? We can't ask ChatGPT. Like you have your inner GPS, your inner guidance, your intuition. The topic of this whole episode, you have your own inner guidance to do all of that. So
Yeah, I agree.
you will do a much better job with your intuition than ChatGPT will do, for sure.
You will. And something else too, anyone who uses ChatGPT to look up astrology stuff, it's most of the time it's not correct. I've tested this, okay? I'm not an astrologer, but I've tested that. So it's not accurate. The information it pulls is from a database, and it's not, I mean, there's a little like disclaimer at the bottom, right? Not always accurate. It's most of the time not. And there is a coach that I saw where she's using it. You could have it pull tarot cards for you or like oracle cards. And I'm thinking, but it's a computer. It's a computer. Like, that doesn't actually work. And so spirituality is a way to connect you back to yourself, not to connect you to a hard drive in some foreign state and, that's air conditioned. That's not the vibe I'm going for.
Absolutely. And also, how has that AI been trained? By who? What kind of interests do they have? So we
Yeah.
cannot outsource our power. We have our own GPS inside of us. We have our own intuition inside of us. We don't need ChatGPT for that kind of thing. We can use it for the 3D world, but we can use our intuition for the 5D.
Yeah. Yeah. You can plug in everything your intuition's telling you into that and instruct it, like, don't pull information outside, only use what I give you here and ask it questions. That's a great way to brainstorm or like to see blind spots and things or to get a different perspective or a different way of wording things. Absolutely. Go for it. And don't use it for your captions. Oh my goodness. If I see more of the dashes, and it's bad because I used to use that years ago and now I can't because people are going to think that that's not me writing it. So yeah, don't outsource
Absolutely.
everything.
So the rule would be do not outsource your life to ChatGPT.
Yes. You'll thank me later. You'll get further ahead, as counterintuitive as it sounds.
Thank you so much, Kayla, for coming into the show for this amazing, fun conversation. I know the listeners of Blisstopia podcast will absolutely love it. Thank you so much for your time and for your beautiful presence.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. I love our conversations, and I'm looking forward to connecting with everyone in the audience over on Instagram or from the podcast.
Amazing. I will see my listeners on the next episode. And in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust. If you loved this episode, spread the word, share the episode with a friend who would love to hear this, subscribe to the show, and leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. This real quick action on your side helps the podcast grow, reach more women around the world, and it would literally make my day. I will see you next Friday for the next episode, and in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.